It is entirely fair to be skeptical of the Cleveland Browns and their head coach, Freddie Kitchens. Right now, the Cleveland Browns have a ton of personality in their locker room. Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield. If you're skeptical, I understand. It makes sense to me. And it is totally fair to be skeptical of the Browns head coach, Freddie Kitchens. He's never been a head coach before. Not once, not ever. And it is totally reasonable if the reason why you are skeptical of Freddie Kitchens is because he's never been a head coach before. If that's your reasoning, I support that. It makes sense to me. Because when you're new, when you've never done something before, especially a job, you're constantly dealing with situations you've never dealt with before. I really think the Browns should have hired Bruce Arians. They should have hired Bruce Arians instead of Freddie Kitchens. Bruce Arians wanted to be the head coach of the Browns. He was willing to come out of retirement to work with the Browns. And instead, the Browns hired Freddie Kitchens. So who is Bruce Arians? Bruce Arians was a head coach in the NFL. He's been successful before as an NFL head coach. He's good with quarterbacks. He worked with Peyton Manning as a rookie. He worked with Andrew Luck as a rookie. Worked with Ben Roethlisberger. He revitalized Carson Palmer's career in Arizona. And Arians wanted to be in Cleveland, but they chose somebody else. And so when the Browns didn't choose Bruce Arians, he said, okay, and took a job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is controversial, but I really believe the Browns should have hired Bruce Arians instead of Freddie Kitchens. And maybe this won't age well. I can acknowledge, maybe 10 months from now, I look like a complete idiot, right? Maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were terrible, and they failed. And if they do, it will not be because of their head coach. If the Buccaneers fail, it will be because their quarterback, Jameis Winston, is a mess. But I know one thing, is that Bruce Arians and Baker Mayfield would have worked really well together. I know it would have happened. It would have been great. And even more interesting is, here's the kicker. Freddie Kitchens coached under Bruce Arians in Arizona. You could have still had Freddie Kitchens. He could have still been your offensive coordinator. He just would have worked underneath Bruce Arians, a guy who's been there before and done the job before. Arians is better prepared to be an NFL head coach right now because he's done the job before and done it at a high level and won games. Freddie Kitchens has never been an NFL head coach before. And I know people are sick of hearing that. Like, you're beating it over the head with, yes, we know. If you're a Browns fan, you're like, Zach, shut up. I know Freddie Kitchens is their first-year head coach. That's the only thing anybody ever says about him. And I will acknowledge, right, Freddie Kitchens has been around football for years. That has some value, a little bit of value, yes. But because he's new, it's a little bit important. He's going to face situations and challenges he's never dealt with before. Now, here's the most honest thing I could possibly say about Freddie Kitchens. When anybody in the media is building an argument about him, there's really not much more to say other than he's never done the job before. I know it's infuriating to hear the same thing over and over and over again. So what? He's a rookie head coach. So what? You're like, just stop with this narrative. I understand it, but there's not much more to say because we have nothing else to go off. He's never done it before. Nobody knows how good Freddie Kitchens will be or will not be. We can speculate based on training camp, but the truth is we have no idea because he's never done the job before. And it might annoy you, it might make you mad, but it doesn't matter. It's relevant to the situation. Because there's no track record, I think it's entirely fair to be inherently skeptical. In fact, I think people should be skeptical of the Browns. They should be skeptical of their head coach. As a football fan, why should we just assume this guy's going to succeed? We shouldn't. Because you love the Browns? Because you love Baker Mayfield? I mean, that's fair, but that's just your blind fandom. Blind fandom is the only reason right now to believe in Freddie Kitchens. And if that's your reason, hey, dude, fine, great. You got a Baker Mayfield jersey, you spent a ton of money on season tickets. Makes sense to me. I understand it. But for me, I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm not coming at this with an angry tone, or it's not what I mean to. I just, hey, My mind is open. Prove me right. Now, what you can't do is you can't deny the Browns have talent. They have a ton of talent, and talent means basically nothing. Well, it means something, but it doesn't mean wins necessarily. Does anybody remember the 2011 Philadelphia Eagles? They went 8-8, and people called them the dream team because of how talented they were. They had Michael Vick, who was the year before in 2010 almost an MVP, got second to Tom Brady, and the Eagles were coming off of a year where they were the number 2 offense in the NFL. They had Michael Vick, Nnamdi Asomugha, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, Jason Babin, Steve Smith, Vince Young as their backup quarterback, Ronnie Brown, LaShawn McCoy, Brent Selleck, Deshaun Jackson, Jason Peters, Jason Kelsey. Name after name after name. Really good players, a lot of Pro Bowlers. All this talent, and that team went 8-8. My point is, talent does not necessarily mean you're going to win games. And if that's your reasoning for believing in Freddie Kitchens, that's a bad argument, because talent doesn't really mean squat. It doesn't mean you're going to win games. It means you're a talented football team. Cool. The Patriots are not extremely talented. They win a lot of Super Bowls. Now, here's one thing we can do as football fans. I think it's important. Have an open mind. Right? I'm hard on Freddie Kitchens. I'm skeptical. I'm like, yeah, we'll see it. I'll see it when I believe it. But I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to give him a month into the season, maybe more, before I finally expect things to start running smoothly. Give the guy time. Give him patience. I'm going to, and I'm skeptical, but I'll give Freddie Kitchens a chance. He's new. There's a learning curve when I'm new at my job. In fact, let's be honest, I've only been broadcasting for 2 years. I'm still new at my job. I hope you guys give me a little bit of grace, because I'm going to make mistakes. Ugh, that was loud. See, I hit the table. It's really loud. But right now, there's a clean slate. And I really cannot. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what happens with the Browns. I don't know. But my point is this. If you're skeptical, I totally understand. It's fair. I think it's a very fair thing to do. Freddie Kitchens has never been an NFL head coach before. And the most honest thing I can say about him is that we just don't know. We think we know. Blind fandom leads our hearts usually. But we don't really know how he's going to be. And I just hope people give him an open mind. That is the most honest thing you can say about any new head coaching hire is be skeptical, wait to see what happens, but give him a fair chance. Give him a little bit before you rush to judgment. But people are like, how can you be fair with Freddie Kitchens if just because he's new? No, it's an entirely fair reason to be skeptical of Freddie Kitchens. Because he's new. It might be the only storyline out there. I know it makes people angry. They don't like hearing the same thing over and over again. But there's a reason what's out there is because it's about the only valid thing right now you can say about Freddie Kitchens, because we have nothing else to go off.